The Chicago Air and Water Show may be months away.
But if you are looking for some high-flying action, look no further than the southwest suburbs this weekend. Pilots are getting ready for Bolingbrook's Cavalcade of Planes. Boy, I butchered that. All kinds of vintage aircraft will be on display and taking to the skies above Clow International Airport. Chopper 2 pilot Kris Habermehl caught up with one of the organizers.
I'm here with Joe DiPaolo here at the Clow Airport, and we're going to be having this big fly-in this weekend. And this is the latest version, especially coming out of the whole COVID, the pandemic era here, getting everybody back out, and the weather is going to be beautiful. So, Joe, how about a little bit of a history about the event out here?
Sure, Chris. This started back in like the 1999 actually. I think it was the first year. And we thought we'd have a little air event where the planes were on the ground. Mm-hmm. And you know how you go to a car show and you see all the different cars and you can pick to choose to buy? Well, at that time, you couldn't do that. You had to go for a Cessna, you had to go to the Cessna dealer at an airport. Piper, you had to go to a different airport. So we brought them all in here. Mm-hmm. And it started there. And I think that first we had about 300 people.
Wow.
And now we're well into the 20,000 people.
20,000 people, and all very well-behaved crowd and very manageable out here, despite the fact that around this area, because I remember being out here at Clow in the mid-1970s, it was all cornfield here, but now it's all built up. So getting in and out, does the police and everybody handle crowd control and whatnot?
We handle all that. We've got parking on site, and then we cooperate. Actually, they cooperate with us. Lowe's, Home Depot, Meijer, they're all great sponsors to help us use their overflow parking lot. And they're only a half a block away from walking over, so it's no big deal at all.
Excellent. So you're like one-stop shopping for this event here. You're like the show boss and the director of the event and whatnot. What other kind of duties do you do out here at the airport when you're not having an event?
Well, I'm the airport manager. During the week or all year, I run the whole thing. I'm a property manager. We have besides about 100 airplanes based here, we have 7 different businesses here. Mm-hmm. We've got Charlie's Restaurant here, which is a great family place to watch airplanes taxi by. They're right on the Charlie's is right on the runway basically, mm-hmm. and watch planes fly. It's a great family spot. We're different from a lot of airports where it's just pure airport. We try to do more community things here. We've got the Illinois Aviation Museum here that's open on the weekends, and families come all the time. People mill around. It's just a great community asset here.
And it's nice to see that an airport that is so surrounded now by residences and businesses and whatnot is such a functional and welcome part of the community.
Yeah, we're busy. We're a huge economic driver here in the community. In fact, the state of Illinois just did an economic impact study, and this little airport brought in $34 million of an economic impact per year.
Wow. I remember the days of old Boyd Clow. It was Boyd Clow's farm, and it was just a little kind of dusty airstrip, and there was nothing around here. And now look.
Now we've got charters, big flight school, a restaurant, a museum, other businesses, a medical doctor located here at the airport. It just works great for the whole community and the region.
And, of course, you mentioned Charlie's Restaurant, and, of course, we love to bring Chopper 2 in here after a morning traffic when we happen to be in the area. And before heading home, we like to be out here to grab a cup of coffee and see other pilots and find out what's going on, latest aviation news.
Oh, yeah, Donna and Alan, who basically own that, and then Jose, the manager, they treat everybody great. It's a great family location for all of that.
Well, Joe, we wish you the best on a magnificent weekend. You're going to be very lucky with the weather here. You got the Ford Tri-Motor, and you've got quite a lot of aircraft that are going to be coming out here over the next couple of days.
Yeah, Chris, because we have so many crowds, we've gone to online ticketing here, cavalcadeofplanes.com, and you can get your ticket up front, and there's no waiting in line. You'll be able to walk right in. We made that change a few years ago, and that's worked out really well. So, go online, get your ticket. The weather is going to be perfect for this. We have food vendors up and down. We have the World War II canteen where we've got a beer and everything for sale, and it's going to be a great, we call it a big stroller event because there's so many families with strollers that come by. They lay out their blankets, sit down and watch planes, and Go up close, don't touch, but get close and look.
And they go rides with the Ford Tri-Motor through the EAA chapter that's here, and also I believe there's helicopter rides and other aircraft perhaps that are giving rides this weekend?
Yeah, we'll have a World War II T6 giving rides. We got JW Aviation, the flight school, will be giving discounted rides in their Cessnas. I think Sunday we'll have a Stearman here giving rides, an open cockpit plane, and JP and the T6 giving rides. So there's a lot of opportunities here for that. Yeah.
And you always say, how can you tell a happy Stearman pilot's by the amount of bugs in his or her teeth? Because they're smiling the entire time they're out there in that open cockpit.
You bet. It's a lot. It's like a Sunday, and I've flown it quite a bit. It's a Sunday afternoon drive. Your arms out the window, the wind's blowing in you. Well, I used to have hair.
That shows a lot of flying time.
That's right. And now I wipe the oil off the top of my forehead, as you know, Chris, right?
That's it. Well, Joe, thank you very much. A pleasure meeting you. Pleasure talking with you. And I wish you all the best and the fine folks out here at the Clow International Airport in Bolingbrook, Illinois.
Thank you.
So how long have you been flying the Ford Tri-Motor?
Over 10 years. I got a lot of time in these and several different ones, believe it or not.
How'd you get interested in flying something like this?
My daddy taught me how to fly when I was a kid out here at Clow Airport, believe it or not. And I've been flying old airplanes my entire career.
And the transition into the Ford Tri-Motor, compared to other multi-engine aircraft, how does this handle? How does it feel?
She flies like a gracious older lady. She'll do anything you want her to do with grace and aplomb, as long as it's exactly what she wants to do.
Well, we've got these big kind of slab sides that actually looks like a flying pole barn, basically. This aircraft has been around since this actual version of the Ford Tri-Motor here, this one.
This airplane is a 1928 model, and so she's been bringing people home safely since 1928.
Where was this aircraft originally in service?
This one flew the transcontinental route, which is sort of interesting because half of the route was on a train at night, and then you'd pick up an airplane, fly during the day, and then pick up and sleep on the train for 2 nights, and in 3 days you get across the country. Blinding speed.
So part of the Ford Motor Company's effort to get into the aviation business until things kind of soured with the big crash in the stock market, right?
Yeah, and also there was a few other things that soured Henry on aviation. However, he was really a visionary. This is the first airplane specifically built to haul people, not mail. And so therefore, when you get inside, it looks like it's a train car of the day to make people feel comfortable.
And the original passenger revenue was basically an offshoot from the airmail service. And then it's like, we've got some extra space. Here's a couple of chairs. If you need to get from here to there, you just go sit down.
Yeah, and often there weren't any chairs. You might be on mail bags. Seriously.
Now, the particular aircraft that we're seeing here today out at Clow, this aircraft's on the EAA tour of the Tri-Motor across the country here. So you're stopped here at Clow this weekend, and then you'll be up at Rockford next weekend?
Yeah, we're Rockford and then Bloomington. So we don't go far, but we cover the entire country eventually.
As far as performance on this aircraft, about what's your cruising speed on this? We've got the 3 radial engines on here, but with the overall weight and the size of the aircraft, about how fast are you going?
We do about 80 miles an hour takeoff, 80 miles an hour cruise, and I land at 80.
So it's a good sightseeing speed for everybody.
Now, you know what? It's really a time machine. It brings you back into first-class transportation back in the day. Back, in 1928, your competition was a Model A on a muddy road going 20 miles an hour with a flat tire every 100 miles.
This particular aircraft, what was its service life after it was built?
In airline service, it was rapidly made obsolete. However, it was such a good airplane, she flies in and out, that it had a long service life in the bush, spraying bugs, dropping fire troopers. It had a good service life on third world countries and post airlines.
Where did EAA find this particular aircraft, and how long have they been operating?
This one, the Liberty Museum out of Port Clinton bought it from Evergreen Museum, and we've been operating it ever since they bought it. And I think I brought it back from Oregon to back to here probably 6 years ago.
And let's tell us a little bit about the actual physical makeup of the aircraft. The wing section is very, very thick. You can see that the leading edge of the wing is much more thick than modern airliners.
Yeah, no, it's designed to, and Ford did a fantastic, Ford and Stout both did a fantastic job with the engineering of this airplane. You see it's all metal construction at a time when most airplanes were fabric covered. It made the passengers feel comfortable. In a day when airline travel, aviation was brand new, this airplane was designed to make you feel good.
And how about the engines? We notice we have radial engines on all three places here, all three mounts.
Yeah, this is a Pratt & Whitney R985, probably one of the most bulletproof engines ever built. It was this engine was from the late 20s, produced through the end of World War II, and was put on new airplanes into the 1970s.
And no cowlings on this. The cooling fins here, those little slats on the side, allow for adequate cooling of all the cylinders.
Absolutely. This is the way we did it in 1928, and it worked then, and it's still bringing people home safe now.
Big beefy landing gear on here. I mean, the landing gear struts and this big oleo that's right here, and the shock absorber. This looks like it's built to take some pretty rough service.
Yeah, there weren't runways back then. So, yes, it is built to get in and out of rough, crummy strips. Now, it's beautiful. You land on the pavement, and this is one of the nicest, easiest airplanes to make a smooth landing in. It's great.
Well, let's take a look inside, see what this aircraft looks like. Going into the back of the Ford Trimotor here, you see that the inside has got this lovely wood paneling on it, and it's all wood finished. We also have the passenger seats here. Again, the very early days of revenue service. You'd say a very large entryway here to accommodate people. And the individuals that would be flying it here, unlike days that we're finding out now, not only do we have the headroom in here, but the men and women that would be flying in here would be dressed to the nines, basically. You would dress for flight.
Absolutely. This was very first class, and the tickets weren't cheap. They were more like first class tickets today, not coach. But like I like to say when I haul people, I guarantee everybody gets a first choice of aisle or window.
Absolutely. There's only one seat. You have the aisle and the window. That's all you're getting, and you have a nice full view of the cockpit up front, so you can see what's going on up front.
Yeah, we don't need any big doors, and you get to see everything outside in these huge windows. You're not looking out a little commuter window. You got a nice view.
And so no jump seat for a flight attendant at all. There were at the time.
A few of the operators did carry a flight attendant and hand out sandwiches and whatnot. Although the legs typically were pretty short.
Now all of the furnishings in here, these kind of wall sconces and what have you, and these other things that are protruding out here, these vents. So basically, since the windows don't open, that is your kind of eyeball air that gets is that controlled by the passenger or up front?
By the passenger.
By the passenger. So you have the opportunity to open this just with open and close. All right. Yeah. Very good. And so would this be representative of the actual interior?
Yeah, each one was a little bit unique and hand built then, but this is very much like it was. And like I said earlier, it's very much like a train car of the day, so that makes people feel comfortable for being here.
Absolutely. How about going up toward the cockpit here? All right, so basically we're looking at the cockpit of the Ford Trimotor out here at the Clow Airport, and it looks like a very straightforward panel. Altitude, airspeed, heading, little turn and bank indicator and side slip, and of course your fuel controls and whatnot, and the throttle quadrant in the middle there. I noticed that you have Ford steering wheels on here in place of a stick or a yoke.
Well, it is a Ford. And also the other nice thing about it is you can open the windows and fly it with your arm out the side.
Oh, that's great. So even while you're out cruising, you just leave the window open, and you've got plenty of.
Yeah, my farmer's tan gets up a little higher.
and with the motor up front, you got an engine that's mounted. You're right behind the firewall. Does it get kind of toasty up here?
You know what? In the summer, this airplane has the world's greatest heater, and in the winter, it's the world's greatest air conditioner. It's a little breezy.
I can imagine. I mean, looking at the side here, there doesn't seem to be. There's no insulation in the cockpit area. No. You have just the black painted inside of those fluted sides. So you've got the slab sides on there, the metal, and then that running down the side. So how did Ford decide to use this kind of almost? It looks like a streamlined rail car the fluted sides on there. And some people that have pole barns and whatnot, they may be familiar with with that.
Now the corrugated aluminum, that's a very, very thin skin, and if it wasn't corrugated, it would oil can and make noise and probably crack itself up. So it adds stiffness to the skin, and the structure is really less based on the skin and more on all of the beams and so forth you see.
How much of a restoration project was this when the EAA came across it?
This one, we totally restored the one we did. This one we bought, and it was previously restored. This one was one of the more extensive restorations done anywhere, and in fact, they reskinned the entire airplane.
So this particular aircraft, do you do a wheel landing with this one? Do you come in, or do you do three-pointed, or how do you land the thing?
We land it with a tail-low wheel landing. The tail wheels aren't really designed to hit the ground very hard, so you want to be gentle with them.
And about how fast are you going when you're lifting off?
You're lifting off in the 65 to 70 range. It'll fly a little slower, but that just makes it good and safe for everybody.
I was going to say, you got a nice big wing out there, a lot of wing surface, and very thick. So anything else that you've got as far as special handling characteristics or anything on this particular airplane? Something you like, something you don't like?
One thing I do like is the ride. Faster airplanes bounce through, and it's like driving too fast on a really rough road. This is flying slow enough that you fly with it, and yet it's not like a little cub or something where they bounce you around, because it's got enough mass that the air doesn't bounce you. So it's actually really what I like about it, especially hauling people for rides. It's very comfortable no matter the conditions.
And it looks like the cockpit is 99.9% authentic. You just have the GPS there, of course, for cross-country navigation, right?
Yeah, that and looking for thunderstorms. If a thunderstorm comes in and we're on the ground, I want to put it in the hangar.
Sure. Even with the corrugated skin, you don't want to have this thing. It'll take off by itself, too, right?
Absolutely. And we're caretakers of a wonderful piece of history, and I'm not going to be the guy that bends it.
Absolutely. Any other thoughts about flying the trimotor here and your experience flying in and around Chicago, especially with the trimotor?
Yeah, no, Chicago's a wonderful area to do. I've had this out over Midway, and the Midway controllers give you priority for coming by, and it's a wonderful thing. So I enjoy Chicago and enjoy the having grown up here, flying out here. This particular airplane, for any pilots, it's very honest, but she's not real fast to respond. So you got to anticipate a little bit and just do what she wants to do.
As kind of wrapping up our coverage of the Ford Trimotor out here at Clow Airport, you're going to be out here today, tomorrow, and also Sunday.
Yeah, we're out here giving rides. There's plenty of availability. Come on out, and we'll get you up for a beautiful sightseeing tour of the area.
And the rides are pretty affordable, too.
Yeah, $85 for adults, $55 for children, and it's a great family thing to do.
And in this day and age, that's essentially less than a tank of gas for your car.
Yeah, it's scary,
literally.
Scary but true.
It is scary but true. All right, folks. So, Rand, thank you very much. I really appreciate the tour of your Ford Trimotor. Welcome.
Another old Clow guy.
That's it. I started flying a Clow back in 1975, and I started out here flying sailplanes and worked into powered aircraft after that. So this is like old home week. It's nice to be back out here at Clow Airport. So, folks, come on out. Ride the Ford Trimotor out here at Clow. The EAA chapter is sponsoring this. And if for some odd reason you miss it being out here at Clow, they're going to be up at Rockford next weekend. So, reporting for CBS 2, I'm Kris Habermehl at Clow Airport in Bolingbrook.
Show takes place Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 4. Tickets are just $5 for adults and $3 for kids.